the deadline for TikTok, for ByteDance to either sell TikTok or shut it down is right around the corner. Is I want to say the 18th or something of January. Now, Trump has stepped in to try and stop it. And this is Fox Business dealing seemingly with the reality of selling it, or, you know, it being sold or not sold, it being evil or good or a force for either, or what. We'll see. Because, again, don't pre-watch. But it says, the description says, billionaire entrepreneur, which that's a lot of French in a row. Billionaire entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, Frank McCourt, on what it will take for him to buy TikTok as bids for the popular app ramp up. And I think I think the host of this is turd under the nose lady, the lady who always looks like someone's holding a small cat turd under her nose. That lady? I think so. Let's see. The Big Money Show. You guys are fucking adorable. Hey, working class MAGA folks, do you feel seen? Jesus Christ. I'm just saying you shouldn't probably have your Fox Business show have a title that looks like a lotto program on local news. Whatever. And welcome, Trucker John Convoy. Thanks for raiding us. All right, here we go.
Welcome back. The clock is ticking on TikTok. The social media giant has until...
I see what you did there, lady. So it's not turd under the nose lady. It's no thank you. I don't let anyone buy me a drink except my ex-husband.
January 19th to sell its American business or face a nationwide ban. President-elect Donald Trump is urging the Supreme Court to pause the ban and allow...
Right, which seems weird. By the way, I've been yelling about TikTok for a good long while now. It's it's basically an act of, I guess, a combination of social destabilization, computer code, and an algorithm that just, I guess, seeks to get kids to drink bleach. I can see why Trump would be for that. You know what I mean? Nothing's going to purge the maggots faster than more like Tide Pod challenges on TikTok.
Some time for a, quote, negotiated solution. One potential solution, enter Frank McCourt, a billionaire entrepreneur who's launched a bid to buy TikTok.
Who just did, as every billionaire entrepreneur should do, did a huge rail of blow right before coming on the air. So he had to...
From Byte.
I'm kidding. I don't know that that's the case. I've never seen this person before.
He joins us now. It's great to have you on the program, Frank. Thank you so much for being here. So what's it going to take for you to buy TikTok? And
$85 billion, $30 billion, $12 billion, $8 billion, $2 billion. I mean, if you're not buying the algorithm with it because it's Chinese malware, then you're basically what? Just buying the servers and the name? Maybe some of the office staff?
And the only other person I know...
Not that you buy office staff, you know what I mean. You're going to have to keep paying their salaries. Stop it.
Who's interested so far comes on this show a lot, Kevin O'Leary. How are you working this?
Well, unlike Kevin O'Leary, I actually have money, future Karen.
Yeah, well, we've put all of our ducks in a line. We're ready to buy the U.S. app, the U.S. portion of TikTok, assuming that ByteDance sells it. And we're going to know the answer to that very, very quickly because the Supreme Court is hearing their case. It's their Hail Mary pass, which is not going to work, in my opinion. That hearing is...
Really? You don't think Trump can settle this and work it all out? And but he's art of the deal. He is the artist of deal. He is the Da Vinci of deals. Even though he didn't write that book and he's never even read it.
It's on the 10th. And conventional wisdom is that the Supreme Court will rule against ByteDance, supporting our government and our people, because TikTok is a real national security threat. And then ByteDance is left with the option of shutting it down or selling it. And, we're standing by, ready to buy the U.S.
I'm going with they're going to sell it because they need the money.
TikTok without the algorithm, by the way, which China has said they'll never part with.
Can you talk to us?
You know why? Wait. You know why they won't sell the algorithm? Because it's not just a commercial piece of computer code. It's not just the secret sauce or extra flavoring or what have you in Kentucky Fried Chicken or Coca-Cola. The reason they won't part with it is because it is military software. It was designed by the military, by their psychological ops group. That's what it was. That's who made it. That's who controls it. And if you got the code for it, you could kind of work your way back to who designed it. That's why.
Just about that, because you've said that you're not interested in the algorithm. Kevin O'Leary, someone, again, that Jackie mentioned that we talked to, he likes the app, frankly, for the algorithm. What is it about the app that you like, X algorithm?
Yeah, well, Kevin and I have had a number of conversations about this, and I really think that, Kevin is starting to see the value in buying TikTok without the algorithm. There will be an algorithm. It just won't be the Chinese algorithm. And
yeah, that's kind of the key. That's where Kevin O'Leary is kind of too stupid for the rooms he's in.
It will, the user base will own and control their data and their relationships. So you'll still have the benefit of big data. You'll have the benefit of algorithms, but it won't be a Chinese algorithm, and it won't be one that takes advantage of American citizens.
Why is that? Oh, because we have laws in this country about what you can do and how the terms of service have to be actually told to people and how you have to live up to them. And you can't just go, well, once it's inside our country boundaries, fuck you. So there's that.
Look, we've seen China hacks now, right? In October, it was the presidential campaigns. November, the telecoms. Last month, we learned about the Treasury Department. We need to protect American people. And TikTok, as it's currently designed, is a national security threat.
Yep.
And so let's move TikTok over to a clean American stack, protect Americans, and keep the platform going so that everybody that's enjoying TikTok can continue to do so.
Well,
I will say there's one thing that will stop if they move it, not just the artificial boosting of the most psychotic trends to the top so that every little kid in this country who's on TikTok gets to be, convinced that they can fly, but as long as they jump off a high enough building or eat Tide Pods or that, nothing cleans your teeth like lye, those kind of things. That algorithm that artificially boosts those things to the top will go away. But besides that, also, a lot of the people who make money that are like highly known to make money on TikTok will not be making that kind of money anymore because it's not organic. The method that they're getting paid through as far as advertising and stuff is not organic. The Chinese government backfills that money so that anybody who's making big dollars on TikTok is actually being kind of lured into the false sense of accomplishment because they pay you to keep building stuff up, and they artificially raise accounts that they want to be stronger and downplay others. So they use the illusion of advertising dollars to drive self-importance among some of the posters and also to retain some of the right people.
You mentioned enjoying TikTok, and that's an interesting conversation, too. There's the security threat of where does your data go, but then there's also, like, the American TikTok gets kids fixated on making NyQuil chicken or something. In China, it doesn't do that, right? So like, I'm a parent. Some would argue this app is actually destructive in a lot of ways, even apart from where the data goes. Do you envision a new kind of TikTok, maybe one that isn't,
oh dear,
so, I don't know, trivial or addictive or something else? What's your vision?
Well, yeah, that's it'll be more in line with what other sites are like. It'll compete on an even playing field, largely with like Snapchat, except your stuff stays up. That'll be the essential difference.
Yeah, totally different. And you're right. I mean, TikTok is banned in China. I mean, think about that. The U.S. TikTok is not allowed in China because it is addictive. It is manipulative. And it's not just that China has information.
Susie says it's war without bullets. It's exactly right. That's exactly what it is.
On 170 million Americans. I mean, that's bad enough. But they're able to manipulate 170 million Americans, many of them young people, as you point out. This is a highly addictive platform. Let's move U.S. TikTok onto a new clean, made in America stack, give people now
I think he means a stack of software.
ownership of their data and their relationships, and let them permission its use and let it and benefit financially. By the way, we now know personal data is enormously valuable. So let's give people some of that value.
Frank, everything that you're saying sounds totally reasonable. I think it would be to most people.
Yeah. So we're going to have to cut this interview short because this is Fox Business. We won't make this mistake again. Goodbye, Mr. McCourt.
Who have been against having TikTok in this country, but do understand the magnitude of its power. At the same time, you've got the president-elect urging the Supreme Court not to ban it, not to hear.
Yeah, why would you do that for the Chinese government? Why would if Joe Biden is the one that is being paid by our enemies, especially the red Chinese, according to Rudy Giuliani, why would he be the one that passes the CHIPS Act and fucks the Chinese economy into a cocked hat and sends them back 2 decades? But Donald Trump could have passed a similar CHIPS Act and just didn't bother. Also didn't pass an infrastructure bill that would not just support infrastructure in the country, but also build broadband in the country. So people out in the rural areas would be more reliant on like the system set up through 5G that have, that we're now knowing have all this like Chinese circuitry in them and all this possible malware buried into it. Why would he leave them susceptible to that? If they hadn't, I don't know, I'm just spitballing, made him promises financially in the future after the fact or something along those lines. Why would he do that? And then why would he try to save TikTok and maintain it as a Chinese entity when he could just support the sale of it in the United States? Why would he want China to still retain it? We'll figure that out at some point. I can't imagine where it might be money, that there could be a reason money that he would do this money. We'll look into it. But if I look it up money, it's probably because of something, trivial like money.
The oral arguments that you mentioned on the 10th.
Watch it.
How does that factor in to your timeline? And have you been talking to the Trump administration at all? Because it sounds like the actual ban from the court is what you need for ByteDance to sell to you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, that's how it has to happen.
Well, it's actually, we agree with President-elect Trump that the app should not be banned. It should be divested.
Yeah, that's not what he's talking about. He doesn't believe that. Because if he believed it should be divested, then he would be for the sale of it.
And that's where we come in. We have a solution for President-elect Trump so that we can keep the app going, but without the national security threat and without.
Yeah, that's where the problem comes in, though, because that's not the priority. That's not his priority at all.
The manipulation of American citizens and without the surveillance on American citizens. TikTok currently is spyware disguised as a business.
Yes, get it off your phone.
We need to stop the spying on American citizens. And we need to move the user base over to a clean, made in America.
Now, by the way, what he's talking about here is one of the reasons why they might not sell it even if they need the money. Because they will find out if they get the access to the offices and the like, and they haven't completely broomed out all the software linkages between Baidu and ByteDance and TikTok in the United States and their equivalent software over there, that they'll be able, this guy and his team walk into that office after they bought the place, and they will be able to see that while it may say, because they did a couple of fixes a year ago, while it may say that you get to keep your data or it's secure or it doesn't turn on your mic or your camera without you knowing it and disable the light or any of those things that tells you your camera is on or keeps you from knowing it. It may, and by the way, it won't work on iPhones, for example, because they're really, the security measures on it are really tight. But on a cheaper Android, forget about it. It'll just and never mind Huawei phones. So these things they're just listening devices. All you have to do is set it there. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to spy on somebody, you could just bring a Huawei phone into some place and drop it, and they could proximity find it and listen to the mic on it. It's bad. So the reason they might not want to sell it, and they might just say fuck it and shut it down entirely, is because you could find out. Yeah.
Stack, no China backdoors. So I agree with President-elect Trump, and yes, we are going to be having conversations with him, and we already started the outreach to his people.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's why you don't know that he likes the algorithm right where it is.
And Frank McCourt, I would just say, when you're ready to make the announcement, we're happy to have you make it here on the show.
Thanks very much. Good to see you all. Happy New Year.
Okay.
Likewise.
It's so weird when they have kind of like a sensible rich person. I mean, I don't know anything else about him, but he actually speaks well, sounds like he knows what he's talking about. You can see the distinction. You can see why a lot of actual billionaires can't stand Trump and think he's fucking stupid. In private conversation, all they talk about is how dumb the guy is, because you listen to how these guys talk when they're serious. Mark Cuban's one of them, Jeff Bezos, whatever. Say what you will about their morals and their ethics, but their acumen and their capability of understanding the technology and the issues that they're dealing with is clearly multi-levels ahead of even Musk, much less Trump. So anyways, I hope somebody buys it so we can, then I'll start posting on TikTok. That you can enjoy that. I'll do little thingies on there or something.